Hi, I'm Michelle,
And I'm Terry.
and we are Widows Helping Widows. And today we're going to talk about moving, or like some people say, you shouldn't do anything drastic the first year after losing your spouse.
But I did. And you did too.
We both did.
Yeah, we did. I was living in the Washington, D.C. area. And before my husband died, he was talking about moving us to Texas. But he died on the operating table. And basically, I just kept the plans that he had. So, Michelle, within the year, I moved me and my kids, again, my daughter was 8, my son was 4, across the country. I had to do what was best for me at the time. Mm-hmm. The reason why is because, your mind plays tricks on you. And I would be sitting in the living room in my house in Maryland, and I knew exactly what time my husband was coming home. And I would just look and stare at the door, knowing he was never going to walk through that door. And then I would have to, on the way to take my kids to school, I had to go by and drive by the hospital where he died. And I just couldn't do it. For my own sanity, my own peace of mind, I stepped out on faith. He would always say, Terry, just step out on faith. And that's what I did. And we moved across the country. And I think it was the best decision for us, for me and my kids. How about you, Michelle?
I also moved the first year. I moved right away. I think in a previous video I kind of touched on that, where we were in an apartment at the time. I decided not to buy a house. And then about 6 months later, my husband passed away. So it was a good decision not to at that time. Yeah. I'm glad we hadn't bought the house. But I moved with my parents, and my dad at the time was still working. He was not retired. And he was offered a job in Dallas. And he said, I'm going to have to take this job. Mm-hmm. So your mom and I are going to have to move. And so I remember thinking, oh my gosh, it's only been like 6 months since my husband passed away. And I thought, is that too drastic? But at the same time, I'm like, I felt like I needed a change of scenery.
Yeah. A new start.
A new start, yeah. And like every time I passed by the cemetery, he was, he had died in. And there's just so many memories everywhere. And so for me, it helped me too. I thought maybe this would be a fresh start for me and my son. And so we moved up to the Dallas area, and that was literally the best decision I made. And a lot of people say don't make any drastic decisions, especially moving. That's a big deal.
Oh, that's a big deal.
And we both moved to different cities. You moved across the country.
Across the country, yes.
You had a big move.
Yes.
Mine was just a 5-hour move. Yours is a lot farther than that. But like you said, stepping out on faith, and we're both Christians.
Yes.
We both have a strong faith and a belief in Christ, and we both, it's interesting how we felt like God was leading us to do that.
That's exactly right.
And it was the best decision, and because of that, our kids have thrived, and we have been able to, I think, get through our grief journey.
Yes.
In a new place. In a new place.
And with our new start. And it's interesting too, Michelle, because not only moved across the country. At that time, I was with a different company than I am now, and they must have heard, I don't know how, through the grapevine, but they put in a relocation for me without me ever asking for one.
Wow.
And so not only did I move across the country, I still had the same job that I did in Maryland, just a different location. And that was God.
Huge blessing. That's a huge blessing.
Yes.
It's like an unanswered prayer that you didn't know you needed
that's
at
exactly
the time.
Right.
Exactly
right.
So that's neat. Mm-hmm. But like some people in our support group, they've talked about how they feel comfortable staying where they are, and they're not comfortable moving for many, many years, and that's okay.
And that's fine.
It depends on just what you feel like you need to do, and if what you're called to do, what would be best for you in your grief journey.
And that's exactly right. And everybody's grief journey is different. There is no book on every individual person's grief journey.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. Mm-hmm. And we've had members in our group move.
Yes.
Quite a few of them. Mm-hmm. I'm a real estate agent, so I've helped a few of them in that process. But there's so many emotions that come behind moving.
Oh, yes.
Especially if it's pretty quickly after they passed, because then you're forced to go through their things and decide pretty quickly what you're going to keep, what you're going to donate or throw away, give away, whatever. So
yeah, when I decided to move after my husband died, I kept a lot of his clothes, some of the special things that he liked to wear, for myself and also for my kids. But with the other clothes, he worked for the government. He always wore suits. So I said to myself, what would he like me to do with these suits that he had worn when he was working for the government? And, he always gave back. He was a pastor at the church. And so what I decided to do, Michelle, is for men that were starting to get back into the workforce because of different circumstances that had happened with them. I give them to a shelter, a men's shelter, that would help men, look their best when they would go for job interviews. And it made my heart glad that I did that. And I know my husband would have been very proud of that too.
Very proud. Yeah, very proud. Yeah. But it's hard. We've talked about that, and sometimes people say, "Well, I'm not ready to get rid of things, but I'm moving."
Yeah.
We've had some people in our group who have just moved their things multiple times with them, and you don't have to get rid of anything until you're ready.
Right.
And you should never let anybody talk you into get rid of anything.
Never.
Like Terry, I've said before, we're not counselors, but we've been through this journey, whether it's moving or dealing with so many scenarios, and you don't let anybody tell you when it's time.
No, it's on your time.
It's on your time.
Yeah.
It's definitely on your time. But Terry and I, we both moved in the first year, which is pretty rare, honestly. I don't think a lot of people do that.
No, I don't think so.
But
but it was right for us, Michelle.
It was right for us.
Yes.
It was definitely right for us. We know, like we said, we've had other people in our group wait like a year or 2, 5 years, and there's a lot of emotions that come behind moving.
Yes.
You think about not being in that home anymore, all the memories you shared together there. And that is hard. It's hard to let go of that.
It is.
But I think for me, it was really nice in the fact that it helped me not be so sad at every turn inside my house or inside my apartment, to be reminded of him.
That's correct.
And it sounds kind of, strange, but when you are constantly reminded at every turn, that was hard for me.
It was hard for me too. And I just couldn't stay in that house. No.
No, it was like you said too. Remember, we had 2 little dogs. We had 2 dachshunds, and they knew what time he'd come home too. And so about 5:30 every day, they'd go by the door and sit. Yeah. And it was so hard. Like, how do you tell a dog?
Right.
He's not coming home. Like, it's it. So, but yeah, moving for me was the best decision I could have made for me and my son. And it's interesting to see what make our decisions. Create new paths for the rest of our life.
That's very true.
If I hadn't moved, I would never met my current husband.
That's exactly right.
You
wouldn't have met me.
Oh, we wouldn't. You and I would never have met, which would have been so sad.
Yeah.
But like you said, stepping out on faith and making sure that for us, making sure we were following God's will for our lives. And it's hard because sometimes you're like, I feel like this is it, but you never know. You're never 100% sure sometimes. No. Like you said, you just gotta step out on faith.
That's exactly right.
So,
you want to tell them how they can contact us, Michelle?
Absolutely. Okay. So you can contact us by email at widowshelpingwidowstx@gmail.com. You can also look for our support group on meetup.com. Just search for Widows Helping Widows in Frisco, Texas. And then please also like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. What's the channel name?
It's Widows Helping Widows TX. And please subscribe.
Yes, and if you join our meetup group, we will send you a notification about when we're going to have our in-person meetings and our Zoom meetings, where we actually have our support group either in person once a month or on Zoom once a month. And it's free to join our meetup group.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Michelle, for all that great information.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful day.
Take care.